Hello and welcome to Season 63 of the Dominion League. We are in the B division this time and our first match was against Minionpawn. I will cover the matches and games in this season a little bit differently to how I've covered the previous seasons. This season has 7 players in it and I feel like a summary video at the end of the season that is made up of 6 feature games will be too long. Instead, I'll make one video for each of the matches that I play in this season. I chose this match because it highlights and illustrates some of the finer ideas about this game that we love. It features some endgame tactics. It features some ideas on how to play a second player, and it highlights the value of being disciplined and sticking to your strategy. Let's have a look at the kingdom now. Immediately my eyes go to page. Importantly so, because the page line provides the only source of plus action in the kingdom, not through the page itself, but in its final form as the champion. There's draw, but there's only drawing livery. Again, not explicitly from the card itself, but livery will gain you horses. The horses will draw cards. And there's a bit of gain around. Artificer will gain. Animal Fair has plus buy later in the game. And Charm has plus buy all the time. There's trashing as well. Trashing is available via the plan. The trashing token can be placed on any of these piles here. And with that, it seems like the path is clear to build a deck that can draw a heap of cards with the horses gained from livery and then make use of artificers to capitalize on that increased hand size. The way to get there, I believe, is by placing your trashing token on the page pile and trying to get as many pages as possible to trash with. It's a cheap action and it should allow you to trash coppers and estates very easily. My opponent agrees. We both open with plan and page, trashing an estate out. Same thing happens again for Minionpawn on turn 3, so they get 2 estates out. I have 5, and I have a decision to make on 5 here. I think the 3 contenders are Charm, Artificer, and Livery. Livery I declined because eventually it might collide with the higher travelers, Warrior and Hero. Charm, I didn't feel like I could make use of the gain or the plus buy on the Charm right now, and honestly, none of them do what Artificer does, which is gain pages. Artificer can gain pages by discarding 2 cards, and then I'll be able to trash a card from my hand. Not only that, it gives me a coin. I can use the coin to buy pages as well, to further increase my rate of trashing. Very important when you are second player. Speaking of second player, my opponent gets to play their page first, as is expected of the second player. They get to 5, make the same choice as me with the Artificer. I think that's right. So they've upgraded, and we'll pay attention to these travelers as we go along. They provide easy markers to see where the first player is and where the second player is, and gives an indication of the progress of both decks. I play my page, buy a second page to keep trashing, mostly to keep trashing. I'm not interested in the upgrade of many of these pages, but interested in the trashing. Here's another page. So now we both have treasure hunters. We'll keep an eye out for when these appear. I gain 1 page, trash 1, and still have money left over to trash yet another card from my hand. I do not convert these pages to treasure hunters. You notice Minionpawn converted one of theirs on the last turn, so they have 2 treasure hunters in the deck right now. I will not convert any of these because treasure hunters do not draw cards. Treasure hunters put silver in the deck, which make it more difficult to find my travelers to upgrade them into champion. Recall, champion is the only source of plus action, and I want to get there before my opponent to unlock the full potential of the board. Pages stay as pages, and we try to get our 1 treasure hunter all the way up to champion as quickly as possible. My opponent goes for an overlord, and I've refrained from overlord for up to now because Overlord puts me in debt, and if I'm in debt, it becomes very difficult or impossible to buy pages to help me trash a little more quickly. You'll recall a couple turns ago I was able to gain a page and trash off the Artificer and then also buy a page and trash because I wasn't in debt. I have to gain the 3 silvers there is a bit unfortunate. I would have rather gained just 1, but I have to push this up to a champion. There's no other way around it. That is just how the shuffle came out. We'll buy a page to keep trashing. My final estate goes and I have my warrior. So Minionpawn upgraded from treasure hunter to warrior before me. I did it after him, as is expected of the first player and second player. Setup. Here's the overlord. We'll see what they opt to do with it. They go for the artificer, gain a page, but they're unable to buy another page because they're in a heap of debt. Instead, they go for another overlord. Could be used as another artificer. And Minionpawn converts yet another page into a treasure hunter. Alright, I play 3 pages, then I'm able to gain 1 with the artificer to trash out. And now, only now, do I go for the overlord because I have gained 3 silver thanks to that treasure hunter. It means I'll pay off debt more quickly and probably still have money left over to buy pages if I want. None of the pages get converted, and they will not get converted for a very long time. Alright, Minionpawn's warrior comes out before mine, again as is expected. From the first player, they get another overlord. Now, I will play my warrior, but it is followed by, or preceded by, 5 pages, which means I'll flip a heap of cards in the deck. I trash none, but look at the log. There's a hero in there. I flipped their hero. So it means the hero is not in the shuffle. They'll have to reshuffle and then look for their hero. What it means is it gives me an opportunity to try to catch up or even go ahead of my opponent in the development of the page into champion. I get to 5. I could have trashed again here. Maybe I should have, but I felt like the 5 was more important. It could be one of the 5s, or you know what? It could even be something better than that, an overlord. The reason why the overlord is better is because it'll seamlessly transition between artificer and livery. In the first part of the game, the part where I in particular, I'm trying to advance my page up the champion, all of these overlords will be artificers. That'll give me the maximum chance of catching up to or overtaking my opponent in terms of getting to champion first. Later, when the champion is down, they'll switch roles. They'll become liveries. It's well worth the extra money to get a card that can do that for you instead of having to purchase Artificer now and then livery later. Alright, we get our hero before Minionpawn, so we have maybe the half a turn advantage now. They trash again, pay off some debt, pass it back to me. I want to use this Artificer to continue my trashing. Have to discard a silver for it, but that's okay. I think the trashing is very, very important, especially as second player. Just trying to increase my chances of getting ahead of my opponent, getting to champion and putting it down before they do. Enough money to pay off debt and to buy another overlord. Thinking about the treasure hunter here, still, no, now is not the time. I need to convert hero to champion, and only when I have the champion down, then I can think about converting some of these into treasure hunters. Then that part of the game is done, then we could switch roles for the pages. An artificer is played here for Minionpawn, probably going to trash. Yep, there's the penultimate page. And they gain some more silver. Keep going forward in the deck. Now they could look for the hero, so that is what they're doing. They're trying to find the hero. These overlords will be played as artificers to look for the hero. Mine is the last card in my deck, unfortunately. Minionpawn does not find their hero, and so instead they just take another overlord. Page, do not trigger the shuffle. That is completely against all of our ideas and efforts for the game so far. Do not trigger the shuffle with the champion outside of it. So we stop there. Pick up our charm. The plus buy is much more valuable than the extra money from the gold. Pay off debt. And now I could buy another overlord. I do buy the overlord. and still do not convert page into treasure hunter. Stay disciplined, as tempting as it might be to convert. When the champion is down, then you could switch over. Artificer gains Minionpawn the last page. Hero. So I've played my hero first, and now Minionpawn has played their hero. So it is as though the roles are reversed now. It is as though right now I am first player and Minionpawn is second player. So all my effort over these turns with the making extra efforts to trash and being disciplined with my pages has paid off a little bit. We'll see who gets the champion first, of course. I am looking for that champion now. Going deeper into the deck. Where is the champion? Do we find it? Just a few more cards. Okay, it's in the last 3, which is a bit sad, but we can't do anything about that. There are no pages left here to buy. Otherwise, I really would have considered buying a page to trash one of these coppers. And 4 here is a bit of an awkward number. Clerk is not very helpful. It is about as good as a silver. Instead, I opt to move my plan token, the trashing token, from the pages onto the artificers. I wasn't sure if artificer was the right pile or if livery was the right pile. In the end, I decided to choose the artificers. I felt like I would buy more artificers than liveries. All these overlords will now be liveries because we have the champion. It's not here, but in the next 3 cards there, I don't need to draw for it then. I get the artificer, and I do not buy an overlord. I have the extra buy. I do not, because livery only gives you the horse if you buy cards costing 4 or more. If I'm in debt, then I have to pay off debt, and then I may not be able to get as many horses as I can get if I'm in debt. Now, and only now, do I change just one of my pages, because I can't give up all of that draw. Can't switch 6 pages into 6 treasure hunters. That's 6 less cards you're drawing. I only switch 1 now. I'll take the extra silver for a bit of extra buying power, no problem now. Especially now that I will increase the draw in the deck. And later it can become a warrior, which also draws. Maybe a hero to gain charms. We'll have to see how the game is going. Here's my champion. Minionpawn has a chance to put it on before me. It's in the shuffle here somewhere. We'll see if they get to it. In which case, they would regain their first player advantage. They do not find it. Very happy about that. They have 5. Notice again, they are also not going into debt. They've stopped. They've bought a livery instead because they know they want the money to start gaining horses off the livery. So now, like I said, Overlord transitions to livery. I get 5, well, more than 5, but I just buy an artificer and trash a copper. I will change this page into a treasure hunter. I'm expecting the other treasure hunter to show up soon. That'll convert to warrior, and then slowly, one by one, I could switch pages into treasure hunters, and they'll probably stay as warriors for the extra draw. Only after the champion quest has been sorted out. Now the game is a little bit different. 5 with the charm is great for my opponent, and they get their champion down just after me, so I have a little slight half a turn advantage. However, my opponent here is able to build up a little more than me. They now have 2 liveries, I have none, and they gain another artificer as well. Here, I did talk about using the overlords as liveries. Now that the champion is down, you'll see I made different decisions here. I wanted to find the treasure hunter in my deck here to upgrade that into a warrior as soon as possible. I didn't want to leave it for any longer. I want the silvers now, and more importantly than the silvers, I want the warrior, because I don't have that much draw in the deck. And my opponent, they don't have the draw yet, but they have the liveries. The draw is coming. So I'm trying to shore up my draw problems by including this warrior into my deck right now, and also by trashing out here 1 more copper. So I get my first livery, 3rd artificer, and we will not switch any more of these pages. I don't think I have time to do that. we'll have to live with the draw we have right now. Okay, so let's see what my opponent gets up to. They've shuffled, so they can see their livery. Here, they play 2 overlords as liveries, and they buy a 3rd livery and a 2nd charm. So they have much more potential in the deck. They have way more liveries. They have an extra buy critically. I have an extra artificer, but it's only good if you could draw many cards, and it looks like they'll be able to draw a heap of cards. So at this point, you have to take stock of your deck. My deck is a little bit worse than my opponent's. There's no 2 ways about that. However, I have a slight advantage in the first player that we worked so hard to get. So when you have the worst deck, this is typical endgame strategy. Try to make the game as short as possible. Try to make the game as short as possible. So I put down the overlords as liveries, use my plus buy, and take 2 provinces. Said Minionpawn, I'm not waiting around to see your 3 liveries gain you 12 horses every turn. I'm not interested in having any of that. I just wanted this game to be done now. Let's see how Minionpawn responds. They draw with their warrior livery. They still don't have many. I don't think they have any horses in this shuffle. When they reshuffle though, they'll have a heap of horses. So 1 livery comes down. That overlord is an artificer, as is the 2nd one. I think that's all the overlords for the shuffle. And I think the reason why those artificers are not liveries is because they want to flip the deck as soon as possible, because they know they have more potential than me, and they know they'll have more horses than me. Here's another livery. They buy a province, no plus buy, because they just gain the other charm. Now that the deck has reshuffled, they have all the good stuff, a heap of horses, the extra buy, all the other liveries. But we have a points lead, and we're going to try to make that count. Now, I have choices here. I could draw up to the end of the deck by playing one of these as an artificer, or I can play these 2 overlords as liveries and flip the deck and with much more horses in it. Alternatively, I could play 2 overlords as artificers to flip the deck and try to find something, more money, more buy maybe. Eventually I decided there's no way that's worth it. That's a very low percentage play. It's unlikely you'll find something that'll let you do something significant, like double province, for example. So we stay put, use the horses, gain the horses, and hope to capitalize on those horses in another turn. We stopped again converting pages into treasure hunters. There's no time. And in fact, the last card of my deck there was a treasure hunter. It would have been nice to convert that to a warrior, but again, shuffles. What can you do? All right, here come the horses. The stampede is out. 5 of them, in fact. Warriors come down, draw even more cards from my opponent. Here are the liveries, and now here's the scary part. What can they do with the artificer? Nothing right now. They keep drawing forward. I do wonder if they could gain 3 provinces here, but that's not a good play for them because we took the initiative. We have right now a 12-point lead, and if they take 3 provinces, it's very easy for us to win. Single province would do that. So we've sort of put them in an uncomfortable position by gaining provinces before them. They are able to see a lot of their deck. They gain another page, trash another copper, and they stop here on 25 and 3 buys. They can get the 3 provinces if they want, but it's not a good play. It's very likely that I'll be able to gain 1 province and win the game. So instead, Minionpawn says, I'll have a couple duchies and a province. In other words, Minionpawn is telling me, VCNR, you can't get 3 provinces. I think I'm in a fine position here. The only other play for them there was triple duchy, and that might not be the best play because it just doesn't give them enough points. And here I can probably double province again, because in the same way I've been counting horses that went into their deck, they've been counting horses that went into my deck. They know that there's a good chance I'm able to double province either with the charm or with an artificer. Now we'll try something a little more ambitious. We'll try to get 3 provinces. Fortunately, we have a few horses to start things off. Those are easy to play. inflate the hand size so you get options with your artificer. And this horse is the last one we see. That might be all of them. I wasn't counting. Alright, so what is the next part of the plan? Well, we could play a couple artificers here, no problem, to draw a couple more cards. Only the last or second to last artificer is where you have to think about whether or not you want to discard now or what you want to gain. And here I even play the third one because the overlords can switch. They could switch in between liveries and artificers, so it's like I have 7 artificers here if I want. I do keep going forward here. Page draws me almost to the end of the deck, and at this point I stop, count the cards, and it's in hand. I can gain 1 province by using one of these overlords as an artificer, and then I can use the remaining overlords as liveries. That'll give me the money that I need to buy the last 2 provinces. So we come through in this game as second player. We had a bit of luck when we flipped their hero, but we stuck to our plan. We were disciplined, and we realized that we were in a worse position in the end game and made the necessary adjustments. I'll see you in the next match.